Texas and Texas A&M get set to do battle Friday night in the Lone Star Showdown. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Longhorns and the Aggies. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. We are inching ever so close to that 30,000 subscriber mark. We can't do it without your love and support. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel because, as always, we are brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. The Lone Star Showdown takes center stage on Friday night when Texas and Texas A&M do battle. For the Aggies, it's as simple as win this one and you do something you've never done before, that being punch your ticket to the SEC championship game. For Texas, are there still slim hopes of the college football playoff potentially? That'll be the big debate if you can win this one. But even if not, you can play spoiler to the rival Aggies and continue to tout that they're your little brother. You can continue the smack talk and the tradition of beating the Aggies, what feels like on a yearly basis. The intensity in Austin will be through the roof. It's Texas A&M. It's the Lone Star Showdown. Hello, everyone. As always, I am Chris Phillips, and joining me, as he always does, my co-host, colleague, partner in crime, one of the best in the business, and a man that understands this game, this rivalry, and the dynamic of these two fan bases better than most, that being Mr. Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on? Appreciate you taking the time. You think about this, a year ago, the hype around this one, first meeting in over a decade, the hype, the hoopla, the game at Kyle Field. Well, Texas into those dreams very, very quickly. Now it's the Aggies' turn potentially to get revenge and think about what they've got on the line. You and I probably would have predicted there'd be an 11-0 team in this football game. I don't know that either one of us would have predicted it would have been the Texas A&M Aggies and not Texas, who, again, is a game away from punching their ticket to the SEC title. Meanwhile, it's the Horns trying to play spoiler. Either way, my friend, really excited to chat about this one with you. This is going to be one heck of a game on Friday night.
A lot on the line for both teams. For Texas A&M, it'd be the first time since 1992 that you went 12-0 in the regular season. R.C. Slocum, what was he known for? Defensive-minded, the wrecking crew mentality. Guess what? Mike Elko, what is he known for? Defensive-minded, wrecking crew mentality. That was the closest you ever were to winning a national title since 1939. It's right on the precipice. All you got to do is march on into Austin, Texas for the first time in over a decade and a half. So it's going to be a little interesting factor for Texas. Guys, you showed on up and showed on out against an Arkansas team that is basically fumbling to the finish line. I get that. But it was promising. And the bottom line is that because of you have a signature loss and a head-to-head win, and this would be your third win against a top 10 team in 2025. The first team that would do that since 2019, Joe Burrow-led LSU. The committee has to consider you. It's not a guarantee, but you end all conversations about being a college football playoff dark horse if you lose this game. You at least keep that faint flicker of hope alive if you win this one.
Yeah, Bear, again, so many storylines. This, like many of the other great rivalries we discuss, it doesn't need any extra hype or hoopla. It doesn't need college football playoff, SEC title, what have you on the line. These two teams hate each other. Bragging rights is plenty enough in this game. There's a reason why we were so pumped for this one to come back last year. But, of course, this latest edition taking place this Friday night, November the 28th, a 6:30 Central Time kickoff airing on ABC, being played, of course, in Austin, Texas at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium. Bear, via our friends over at FanDuel, Texas A&M is a 2.5-point road favorite. The over-under is set at 51.5. Texas leads the all-time series 77-37-5. And, of course, the last meeting came last year, a game that we were at in 2024. Texas won that game at Kyle Field by a final score of 17-7. Bear, as we look at this year's edition, I feel like we've got to start with the low-hanging fruit, that being the quarterback position and the quarterback play of both of these teams. Marcel Reed has been really good this season. I think he obviously took that step forward many of us expected. I mean, the addition of a guy like Casey Concepcion, Mario Craver have paid off major dividends. You could argue A&M this season offensively, they've been kind of what we thought Texas was going to be to a degree, but Marcel Reed has been really good. The running game has been fantastic in supporting him. And on the other side, Bear, you've got Arch Manning, who for the most part this season has been, at least to most, a disappointment, underwhelming, underachieving. Well, he's found his stride. I mean, he looks like the guy that we all thought he was going to be, and certainly that culminated in the game last week against Arkansas, where he set a record, caught a touchdown, rushed a touchdown, threw obviously multiple touchdowns, had a career day, had a record-setting day. That is going to be such a huge part of this football game, is the battle between these two quarterbacks. Arch Manning, his first ever Lone Star Showdown, starting on his home field. The play of these two guys, it goes without saying, going to go a long way in determining who wins this football game.
Marcel Reed has an opportunity to clinch his ticket to New York City for the Heisman Trophy presentation. Didn't do it last week because if he barely played outside the first quarter, he still had 3 touchdowns against Samford. It wasn't a stat padding day for number 10. The thing that I remember most about that game last year, it felt like Marcel Reed was so uncomfortable running the offense. Maybe it was because of the moment. Maybe it was because of what this game could mean for their chance to go into the college football playoff, still getting his feet wet, that there were reads that were open that now he will make on a consistent basis. Where last season he was probably a little bit hesitant. He's one to pull the trigger. And I talked to multiple people around Texas A&M. That was something that they really want to hone in on this past offseason. He has mastered that. It's a big reason why it feels like A&M is a juggernaut offensively. If he can continuously utilize his legs to create opportunities downfield, create second chances, there's a good shot that you're going to watch as Texas A&M feast through the air. What do we know about a team like Texas? Their weak point defensively has been their secondary. They gave up over 500 total yards last week, and KJ Jackson, a backup quarterback, came on in and had immediate success. So you get a combination of Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion making plays. Plus, you got to throw in a Terry Bussey. Plus, you got to throw in Roman Bethel. Plus, you got to throw in Borkature. Plus, you got to throw in Amari Niblack if you want to get him involved in the passing game. Thor involved in the passing game. Running backs involved out of the backfield just making plays. There's so many opportunities for you to have the explosives at your disposal. But on the flip side, this is the version of Arch Manning that we envisioned to see when everyone was going and glorifying him as the next coming of Tim Tebow. The version that we saw on Saturday is the one that we're seeing. But here's the question. Texas A&M is a great defense. It's not elite defense, but it's a great defense. Texas has gone up against great defenses this year. They have struggled against great defenses this year. And it's not just Arch. It's the offensive line. It's the inability to run the football. It's multiple drops by wide receivers, whether it be Ryan Wingo or DeAndre Moore. It's the inability to get the right play designs in. It's the careless penalties. It's an area of such weakness for Texas that it does feel like that this is going to be a game where you got to play perfect and everyone has to be able to play. Like everyone will talk about Arch Manning and what he does in this game. Arch may end up having a really good day. And it still ends up being a line of 230 passing yards, a touchdown, an interception, and he has no support around him. And he's sacked 7 times. So that will be the key element here. Which quarterback can do the most when given the opportunity? It feels easy to say Texas A&M with Marcel Reed. It also feels like this may be the moment where Texas has it all running at the same time. This is where they strike.
Yeah, with all due respect, Bear, I mean, listen, it was an outburst offensively for Texas against Arkansas, and taking nothing away from it, but obviously I don't think you draw conclusions from it. I mean, this is a much different challenge. It's just a much different task. Arkansas, obviously, not just one of the worst defenses in the entire SEC, one of the worst defenses in college football. I will say, Bear, for Texas offensively, like you're right. All of the attention and the focus is on, Arch Manning and what he does. Can Texas find balance in the running game? Are they able to establish anything running the football? And I know for Texas A&M, that's been sort of the weak point for them this year. Hasn't been their strength necessarily. They've gotten better at that as the season has gone. But yeah, I mean, winning in the trenches up front, it goes. And that's the thing that's derailed Texas this season. I mean, think about when they've lost, they've gotten manhandled up front. And Texas A&M as a team, they've got enough in that front 7 to manhandle Texas up front on the defensive side. The other side of it, Bear, again, quarterback is a great thing to talk about, but I think the matchup of this game is that A&M rushing attack against that Texas front 7. I mean, that is going to be, again, I've said this before, but if you like car crashes in the trenches, that's the side of the ball to watch. What Texas is able to do in their front 7, how active they are. And Arkansas was able to actually get after them a little bit with Mike Washington. Here's the deal. A&M's got 3 of those guys. If not better than him. And you got the quarterback, Marcel Reed. that can do things with his legs as well. We've seen him at times. I mean, heck, I saw him in person against LSU run all over them. So how does Texas, how are they able to slow down that Aggie rushing attack, which it is so much easier said than done because they've been so good at every single point this season.
And they're doing it without, in my opinion, their best running back, and Le'Veon Moss, who's been out for near over a month and a half. So that's nothing that you got to throw on in there. They're so versatile in that standpoint. The strength, though, of Texas is its defensive line defensively, and especially when it comes to the pass rush. This is a game to where you have all of this talent, this 5-star blue chip prospect ratio that is waiting to feast on a quarterback that you have got to let it all fly. Because a lot of these guys, they're probably going to opt on out if they know that they're first-round picks. Some guys are going to opt on out and enter the transfer portal. They won't play in whatever bowl game Texas goes to in January. But this is a moment for you to be able to kind of let it all loose. And that's something that I think you're going to have to do if you want to win this football game. You're going to have to disrupt a great offensive line and make this offense one-dimensional. Here's the question. Which way is the offense going to be one-dimensional that you think could end up helping Texas A&M? Is it by stopping the passing attack and just letting it be a running combination of Jamarian Morrow and Reuben Owens? Then you throw E.J. Smith and Amari Daniels into the conversation with that 4-quartet option? Or is it slowing down the running game and forcing you to win through the air, which is a weak point for Texas, and just banking on Marcel Reed having a couple of underthrown balls that you get to capitalize on and pick off? I mean, like, that's really where we are at this point. But you can have coverage sacks down the field by having great play in man coverage. You can also have great opportunities to create turnovers by forcing the pressure and Marcel Reed throwing off of his back foot early. But it really is going to hinder on the success of the trenches in this game. Texas A&M's offensive line versus Texas defensive line. Who ends up getting the last punch before that ball is out of Marcel Reed's hands?
Bear, I'm fascinated to see from the standpoint of, because in rivalry games, we know this is so important. And I think you've got a pretty good gauge on this being there, being in the Lone Star State. Who has the mental edge in this game? Being in Austin this past weekend, there was a lot of confidence from Texas fans that said, hey, if we can take down Arkansas and take care of our business here, I actually feel really good about our chances against the Aggies. There's just a belief that almost like Texas A&M can't beat Texas. Like truly this big brother, little brother dynamic. I'm really curious to see early in this game. Do we see Texas A&M doing some things that have been uncharacteristic? Do we see them flustered or frazzled, or maybe the moment almost looks too big for them? Like, I'm not predicting that. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case, but I wonder how much the mental side of things plays into this game. We know it's so big in rivalry games, but Bear, it certainly feels like in this one, that dynamic plays maybe even more than some others, where it's like A&M's trying to, even though they're 11-0, they're trying to get over this hump of, man, we got to beat the Longhorns, man. It's been so long since we've beaten Texas. I'm fascinated to see how that plays in this game.
The beauty is that the last time that Texas A&M won was in Austin, and this game is in Austin. So do you remember what that atmosphere was like in 2010? Like, that's going to be the big storyline here, in my opinion, of can you get back to playing with that physical front seven that is just able to dismantle Texas into making those mental mistakes at times? It'll be big. What I look at for Texas A&M is the moment too big to understand what's at hand. Because, again, right now, nothing is set in stone for the Aggies. They didn't have enough chaos occur in the world of college football over the last few weeks to guarantee their spot in Atlanta for the first time in program history. So they have to win to guarantee that they are into the SEC championship game, which is funny because of, you would say, a 12-0 team absolutely should get in, and 11-1 team with one conference loss definitely should be considered. That may not be enough this year because of what you got with Ole Miss and what you got with Alabama and what you got with Georgia. So do you understand what this moment is and how big of an opportunity you can make for the program when it comes to their long-term future? For Texas, it's really, guys, we don't need to be focusing on the college football playoff. Like, if you go in as a Texas Longhorn saying, if we win this game, they have to consider us for the playoff, you've already lost, because that's not what this game is about. This game is about beating up on little brother, a team that has not been able to punch their ticket to Atlanta, and they have a 12-year head start on you. This is a team that has had one double-digit win season in the SEC before you arrived, and you could still have a double-digit win season if you end up winning this game and winning the bowl game. So it's like, you're already ahead of them. That's what the atmosphere should be. It's not about, oh, well, if we do X, Y, and Z and things end up happening for us, we can keep our playoff hopes alive. No, this is about, we don't really care about the playoff. We want to make sure that the reason why they can't talk about having an undefeated season is we kick their ass. We want to make sure that they are losing momentum at the right time before everything goes topsy-turvy. We were the ripple effect for that. We want to make sure that every single time that they remember what Texas A&M did in 2025, it has to have an asterisk next to the name. Yeah, but they also lost in our backyard and we beat the brakes off of them because we were better than them and we knew it. We had too many self-inflicted wounds throughout the regular season. That needs to be the identity. That needs to be the attitude. And if it's not the attitude, then you've already lost the fight, in my opinion.
On the field, Bear, back to it really quickly. I will say I give A&M the coaching nod. I think they've got the advantage. I trust Mike Elko against Steve Sarkisian, who has been criticized at every turn this season for the play calling. And again, the offense has gotten better, but I think that cat and mouse game between Sark and Elko is going to be so interesting. And it's a big game for Sark. It's a really, really big game for Sark. I mean, if Texas can win this one, whatever happens with the playoff happens, but it's been, by all accounts, it's been a disappointing season. Let's just call it for what it is. You're not in the SEC title. You're probably not going to the playoff unless some craziness happens ahead of you. You throw in a loss to the Aggies too, and I tell you, people don't want to hear it, but this whole, like, is Sark coming back? Is he, like, what's his future? I think it's only going to pick up steam. So this one is massive for the Texas side of things and just the vibe around the program, fairly or unfairly, because we're talking about a program that's gone back-to-back Final Fours when it comes to the playoff and been knocking on the door of a national championship. But again, you go 8-4 and lose to the arch rival. And by the way, just a side note there, for Texas A&M, win over Texas, you're in the SEC title. Or there's actually another way, even if you lose, if Ole Miss and Alabama both lose, Texas A&M will still get in. Obviously, for the Aggies, you don't want to have to worry about that. You just win, you punch your ticket. But from the Texas perspective, Bear, I mean, just, again, I feel better about the coaching advantage from the Elko side against Sark and what they're going to be able to do defensively and the way they're going to be able to scheme things up. But it's a massive game for Sark and for Texas and just what this 2025 season is inevitably going to be.
For me, what it comes down to for Texas is you may not be even a playoff team, but how nice would it be able to say, listen, it was a down year. What does a down year contribute to us? We beat 3 teams that were ranked inside the top 10 and still were left out of the playoffs because of the self-inflicted wounds. Not having a good matchup against Ohio State early on, which we can live with. Not having a good matchup on the road against Georgia, which it was a 4-point swing really going into the final 17, 18 minutes of the game. So even though it didn't feel like it was close, it technically by the scoreboard was, and having a disgusting performance against Florida, that ultimately is why we're not in this conversation. If that's what is a bad season in your eyes, there's a lot of easy fixes. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can just go, let's do this, let's do this, let's get rid of this coach, let's get rid of this coach, let's fix it here, let's go in the transfer portal, add this player, let's recruit at this position, and then we're right back in this conversation. And by the way, we got a quarterback that we believe in, is hitting his stride at the right time going into the offseason. We have some wide receivers that we know are going to be back next season. We have some really good up-and-coming defensive prospects that are going to be factors for our team. You add all that together, it's very much like we know that we've done a couple of things that really hurt us, but we still, for the most part, delivered in a lot of ways to where you don't be proud of the year, but you know it's correctable. That's where you're at in this game. Because you're not a bad team if you're able to beat 3 top 10 opponents at home or away. It doesn't really matter. 3 wins is 3 wins against top 10 teams. And one of them will be a surefire in the college football playoff. And the other one very well will be a surefire in the college football playoff. Depending on Vanderbilt and everything else that goes with it, they may be a surefire in the college football playoff. So it's like you beat 3 playoff teams and still were left out because of your self-inflicting wounds. It's not the end all. It really isn't.
I do want to mention, Bear, I think a key in this game, red zone efficiency. I think converting in the red area is so massive. I think back to last year and how important that was. One team was able to do so. The other was not. We already talked about the battle in the trenches, but I mean, you think about how that game, what happened in that game, A&M getting down to the goal line, getting stuffed. We know about Texas's struggles in the red zone over the duration of the Sarkisian era. in a game like this, whoever does the little things best is probably the team that is going to win the football game. I know that goes without saying, but red zone efficiency tends to be a big deal in this game. So that's something I'm looking for as well. Who's able to punch it in, convert 7, not 3? We're probably going to have some scenarios where it's a 4th and short, 4th and goal. Are you able to convert? Because, again, A&M was not able to do so last year, and it's what cost them.
Penalties are going to be another big-time factor in this game. It's something that, you don't really pay that much attention to. You need to in this game for a majority of reasons. And it's not just on the Texas side. Texas A&M, they are currently the 115th ranked team in penalties, and they're 114th in penalties per game. Texas, they're 121st. I mean, dude, it could be as simple as, hey, a false start now puts us out of a 4th and 1 where we got to go for it at the 2-yard line to get a touchdown. Now it's 4th and 5. We're changing up our play calling. Little things like that go such a long way that not enough people pay attention to. But I always talk about time possession, how important that is. The fewer penalized team is the one that I feel the most confident in. And that may seem very easy to say. Guys, it really isn't. It isn't. Because if I could easily see Texas A&M have more penalties, and they are the more equipped team.
Bear, that being said, again, we got a spot in the SEC title on the line. We've got a potential college football playoff spot as well. But the Lone Star Showdown, it doesn't need none of that. Longhorns and Aggies, Texas A&M, a battle for state supremacy and bragging rights for the next 365-plus days. That being said, Bear, let's lock in some picks. Let's lock in some predictions. Would you like the honors? You want me to start first for this one?
I'm the native Texan. You're going first on this one.
So, like I mentioned, being in Austin this past weekend, there was a lot of confidence. I mean, tons of confidence in the fact that Texas can and will win this football game over Texas A&M. I think the mental edge for most Texas fans is just like and there's a belief too, I'll say, is this, and let's just end this narrative that Texas A&M hasn't played anybody, and they've just been, and I get it. They beat up on a lot of teams that have either fired their coaches or aren't great. But folks, you don't go 11-0 in this conference on accident. You don't go 11-0, period, on accident. Like you have to be a pretty darn good team in order to do that. And while I'm really encouraged about the offense for Texas, there were some things defensively that worried me. And also, too, you did to an Arkansas team that is defeated in conference play and one of the worst defenses in college ball, probably what you should have done. Again, not saying there's anything to take away from, or that I'm taking anything away from what Arch Manning did. There's things that are encouraging about his performance, but I think let's just pump the brakes just a little bit. That being said, Texas A&M isn't a perfect team either. I mean, you think back to their last conference game, probably should have lost to South Carolina. Probably should have lost that game. Came back. It took the most epic comeback in maybe college football history, obviously 1-286. If you know, you know. I mean, it took that massive comeback. And the bottom line is this. They found a way to win. A win is a win is a win. It is what it is. But certainly I think that showed maybe some deficiencies or some things that Texas A&M at least had to clean up. They're coming off this Samford game where they just disposed of them. Ho-hum, no big deal. As I mentioned to you, Bear, I am fascinated, especially early in this game. It's like two heavyweight fighters kind of feeling each other out. And I'm just curious. I think Texas is going to come in confident, loose, nothing to lose. Like, I feel like they believe they are supposed to beat Texas A&M. Not that they want to, not that they hope to. They believe they're supposed to win this game. Aggie is the little brother. We don't let Aggie beat us. We definitely don't let Aggie come into Austin and beat us. On the A&M side, I mean, how could you not have tons of confidence, Bear? You're sitting at 11-0. You've got everything in front of you. You're having the season Texas wished they were having, and you're a win away from punching your ticket to the SEC title. What's fascinating about coming in this game too, Bear, and I think you and I both said it in the preseason, we said that there wasn't going to be an undefeated team in this league. Nobody was going undefeated because of the depth of the league, the parity. And I certainly, with all due respect, wouldn't have predicted it would be Texas A&M if there were a team that was able to hit 12-0. But, Bear, I've been wrong before. That's very well documented. I've missed many picks this season. I've missed many picks when it comes to the Aggies. I think I'm going to be wrong yet again because I think we're going to have a team that's undefeated because I think Texas A&M is going to go into Austin. They're going to cover the 2.5, and they're going to beat Texas. Here's the thing. you've got the mental advantage and you don't think you're supposed to lose the Aggies' little brother. Cool. Well, little brother's grown up, and little brother's got a hell of a right hook. And little brother's the most complete team, or one of the most complete teams in the conference. And simply put, little brother's better than you. They're just better than you. There's no other way to put it. Across the board, they're better than Texas. I think this will be a close game. The rivalry, the emotions, the intensity, the energy. It'll be a great crowd at DKR. Texas fans will show up and show out. But Texas A&M is the better football team. And for me to pick Texas to win this game, to doubt A&M again, just from my personal standpoint, I feel like not only would it be the incorrect pick, it would be disrespectful of me not to put the respect on A&M that they deserve. People will nitpick the pick. They will belittle it. They will make jokes about it because of things that happened in years past. This is 2025, and this A&M team is just different. This A&M team is on a warpath to the SEC championship, and they're not going to let a Texas team that I said for weeks felt like an 8-4 team and at best 9-3, they're not going to let that team stand in their way. I think A&M, most importantly, will win the battle in the trenches, the thing they could not do last year. I think Mike Elko has a great game plan against Arch Manning in this Texas offense. And I think Arch plays solid. He'll be nowhere near where he was last week. I think Mike Elko runs circles around Steve Sarkisian, and I think Texas A&M does cap off the undefeated season, punches their ticket to the SEC title. Give me Aggies 27, Texas 20. A&M wins, A&M covers, and A&M has bragging rights. And Texas, well, we don't have to debate whether you're going to the college ball playoff, because at 8-4, you certainly won't even be in the conversation. So I love Texas A&M to win this football game. You might call him little brother, but little brother's just better than you in 2025.
I have seen enough of these games to know that everything that you could envision happening is not going to happen. I could see easily this game going completely topsy-turvy. I could see where everyone who is doubting Texas is going to have to eat a lot of crow. And I can still hear the battered Aggie syndrome that is ringing in the back of my ear for years on end of overhyping Aggies and putting the wagon before the horse, finally reaching its peak. Like last 2 weeks ago when it was against South Carolina, it peeked its head around the mirror and said, no, not yet. This is not where I'm going to make my appearance known this year. And then kind of just crept on back in and let the greatest comeback ever occur. The problem is that you are right. This is 2025. Texas A&M is built different. The beauty of what Texas is Texas does have, I think, the Jimmies and Joes in certain areas to win a lot of the one-on-one battles that would make this either a low-scoring affair or one to where absolutely you need to have the fewer errors, which I don't know if it's possible to guarantee a win. That's just kind of where we are. If I'm Texas in this game, I'm leaving no stone unturned. I am opening up the playbook. I am calling shots that I haven't been able to design all year, or that I've waited to go ahead and unload. And I'm making sure that I play my best brand of football to leave a lasting imprint on the College Football Playoff Committee if we do win. Because the last thing that I want to do is make sure that we play a mundane game and like it is a back and forth slosh fest and we end up winning 10-3. Like, I would hate to see that, because at least in that standpoint, then you have to go ahead and leave it up to the committee's chance and go, you know what? They didn't impress. I want to make sure that they know what they're getting if they put us in the playoff. For Texas A&M, I want to play my brand of football. I want to pile drive it down their throats. I want to win with deep shots down the field. I want the run to set the pass. I want to close the gap on quarterbacks. I want to make Cassius Howell channel his inner Jason Voorhees and go after the kids at Camp Crystal Lake, that being Arch Manning, and end up winning this football game in the fashion that we have come in all year, with the wrecking crew mentality and the physicality of the Maroon Goons in the trenches. That's what I want to see. And I think that that is what you will see on Saturday. I do. But I did say I don't think a team in the SEC will go undefeated. And I will eat so much crow for this on Sunday. I will. I'm going to have to go ahead and take back my statement. I think Texas A&M is the better team, and I think Texas A&M does do it. I can't believe it. But at the end of the day, Texas A&M, I just believe in you a little bit more. And I think that this is a special year. And you got me all the way off the batty Aggie syndrome. We are taking it. Here, take this water bottle. We beat it to death. We beat the battered Aggie syndrome to death. It is no longer a thing that exists in the world of college football. And lo and behold, your Aggies, first time going to the SEC championship game. First time potentially winning the conference title. With a win in the conference title, you leave no stone unturned that you're the best team in college football. You get the number 1 seed in the college football playoff. The only way to do that is by beating Texas. Final score, 31-21, Texas A&M. Welcome to a new era of college football, buddy. It's finally arrived, and Mike Elk was here to stay with it.
It's finally here. You're right. After years of people thinking this day was upon us, well, this day is finally upon us. The Aggies are for real. The Aggies are on the verge of doing something they've never done before, standing in their way, the arch rival. Texas trying to play spoiler. Should be a fun one. Lone Star Showdown never disappoints. Again, we're both going Texas A&M.
Which means Texas just won the football game.
Both going with the Aggies to win in Austin. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Guys, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Who wins this game, Longhorns or Aggies, at Texas Memorial Stadium in the Lone Star Showdown? Guys, it's going to do all for us. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. It's NBA tip-off week, and FanDuel is your home for live betting. So even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel's got live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. However you want to play, now's the perfect time to join, because FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/SECU to sign up today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Play your game with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. And of course, rivalry weekend, everything you need. Feast week as well. FanDuel.com/SECU, the way to get in on the action. Guys, once again, that's going to do all for us. We appreciate you all tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out where we get your podcasts all across your social media platforms, as well as our website, SECUnfiltered.com. From Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. We're signing off. Appreciate you all tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you all on the other side.